Dharma Bites is brought to you by Free Buddhist Audio, the Dharma for your life. Our work is funded entirely by donations from our generous listeners. If you would like to help us keep this free, make a contribution at freebuddhistaudio.com/donate. Thank you, and happy listening.
But what if that energy of hatred is used in the service of the Dharma? What if we can destroy whatever is in the way of truth? What if we can destroy whatever is in the way of growth, of progress? What if we can destroy whatever is in the way of harmony and connection with other beings? So the Tantra is challenging us to turn the colour up and take the handbrake off our emotional life and include all of that energy. And it can be exhilarating, and it can be messy, and it can be... You're playing with fire. You're also playing with fire. Vajrapani is wreathed in flames, and these can be dangerous emotions, destructive emotions. So we need to also tread carefully. So how can we do this? How can we include these emotions? How can we transform them? And I want to just lay out some areas of practice, really, almost like a process that I've been through and that you can go through to engage with these emotions. And there's so much more to say. We had a group discussion and we realised actually there's so many caveats and nuances and points that I won't have time to say. So how do we transform anger? How do we include anger? How do we harness that energy? And I would say, to begin with, it depends on your temperament. There's just an initial stage. I had to go through an initial stage with somebody where a lot of my emotions, including anger, were just blocked and repressed. I needed to go through a stage of starting to acknowledge and experience my emotions more fully. If you're somebody who already has a fiery temper and is quite hot-headed, you can skip some of the early stages and move on to some of the later stages. But for me, I needed to start off by becoming more in touch with my emotions and actually acknowledging what was there and experiencing what was there. Because I'd grown up with a sense of anger is something to be feared. Anger is something destructive and always bad. Anger causes conflict. I was frightened of conflict. So my upbringing and my approach to life was to try to not upset anybody and to try to avoid conflict and to keep everybody happy. But that meant that I was cut off from a lot of my emotions, and in a way I cut off from what almost like my own voice, what I really believed in, what I really stood for, because I didn't want to stand up for anything. I just wanted to keep people happy and avoid conflict. So it cut me off from a lot of really valuable things and important things. And then, it's very common, you can come to the Buddhist Center and do the Metta Bhavana and then struggle with the fourth stage. People often, when I used to teach the intro courses, would come up and say, well, I don't have anybody to include in the fourth stage because there isn't anybody I don't like, and there isn't anybody that I'm angry with. And that can be a very common experience for people. And it can also be very common that, fast forward 6 months or a year or 2 years, and there's no shortage of people to go on the fourth stage. There's people queuing out of the Buddhist Center to people that could go into your fourth stage. And it can seem initially, well, have I got worse? Have things gone worse? Have I gone backwards? Because now I hate lots of people. I came to the Buddhist Center. There's nobody that I hated, and now I hate all these people. So what's gone wrong? What's happening? Well, actually, hopefully nothing has gone wrong. Hopefully what's happened is you're now becoming more aware of your emotions that were kind of blocked and repressed and just below the surface. So that those responses were there, but we initially don't want to acknowledge that we don't like people, because it's not nice. We don't want to acknowledge that we hate some people, that we're angry with them, because that's not nice. So those emotions just get kind of pushed to one side, and we don't encounter them, we don't experience them. But they kind of rule us from the shadows, because we can spend our life trying to avoid the situations where we experience those emotions, or they just take over us in kind of moments of rage or anger. We're not in control of those emotions. They're in control of us, really. So that was the stage I needed to go through. And in a way, the fourth stage of the Metta Bhavana is a stage where you can encounter those kind of emotions.
We hope you enjoyed today's Dharma Bite. Please help us keep this free. Make a contribution at freebuddhistaudio.com/donate. And thank you.